Marvin Gaye, the iconic singer, met a tragic end just one day shy of his 45th birthday. Rising to prominence in the 1960s and 1970s, his album, What's Going On?, became a cultural touchstone. However, behind the scenes, Gaye grappled with addiction and endured the torment of paternal abuse. His life ended abruptly on April 1, 1984, when he was fatally shot while intervening in a dispute between his parents. This event reverberated through the music world, prompting a closer examination of his struggles and ultimate demise. Marvin was born in 1939 to Alberta and priest Marvin Pence Gaye Sr. His relationship with Marvin Sr. was toxic. During the years of Marvin's life, Marvin's father had shown undue hatred for Marvin. Not only was he strict with him, but he would often beat his other children and wife. According to Marvin Jr.'s sister, Jean, from the age of 7 up to 11, the life of Motown star had been filled with brutal whippings. Marvin once said,
"Living with him was like living with a king, an all-cool, changeable, cruel, and all-powerful king."
Marvin rose to the highs of success in his music career, which made his father jealous. His father was a retired minister of the House of God Church. He strictly practiced all the religious laws of Christianity. He would often test his children by asking them the biblical verses, and if they failed to do so, he would give them harsh punishments. It is described that Marvin would get the harshest of those punishments. The old man was a complicated person. He drank alcohol in excess. He was a cross-dresser. This behavior of Marvin's father gave rise to the doubts about Marvin Jr. being a homosexual. In 1961, before releasing his first solo, the artist made a little change to his name. He added the letter E at the end of his last name, Gaye. He did so as he felt it would sound more professional. Also, changing Gaye to a Gaye would erase all the doubts regarding Marvin's sexuality in the public mind. He learned the basics of music from his father at the age of 7. He would sing in his father's church choir. His dad would give him piano classes. Surprisingly, it was only a few of the stable stages of the relationship between Marvin Sr. and his son. Gaye's 4-month trip began on April 1 in California. Initially, he was happy and mentally fit, but eventually, he started developing a cocaine addiction. Moving from the West Coast to the East and back left Gaye with a mood swing. This led to his drug intake, leaving him insanely paranoid. He had hired several bodyguards to protect him during the tour, as he was convinced a hitman had been hired to kill him. He wore a bulletproof vest to protect himself while performing on the stage. Later in the tour, he deluded that someone was trying to poison him. At a press conference, he revealed that he had hired attorney F. Lee Bailey to find the person who poisoned him, further saying that a mystical substance was given to him by comedian and activist Dick Gregory, which saved him. The trip came to an end as Marvin went home to look after her mother, who was recovering from kidney surgery. People call this period of Gaye's life the toughest of all. His parents had not slept in the same bedroom for more than 10 years. Marvin Sr. would spend most of his time in his bedroom drinking vodka. Marvin Jr. also could not let go of his drug addiction, and his mother was well aware of that. It was his mother who continued to soothe and support him during the difficult times of his life. The excessive paranoia in Marvin made him install an expensive and elaborate security system in his parents' home. Marvin indulged in an argument held between his parents on a missing insurance policy document which cost him his life. It was the 31st of March 1984. Marvin Sr. was upset because he was unable to find a lost insurance document. He blamed his wife for the misplacement. The son was fed up with his father's behavior and asked him to leave his mother alone. Senior became far more arrogant than before and went to sleep in a great fury. The father continued to blame the mother for the misplaced document. Gay warned his father to not come to his room to fight with his mother, but his father's refusal only stirred the tension. Junior retaliated physically as his father did not listen. Alberta said, "I tried to stop Marvin, but he didn't. He kept on kicking and physically attacking his father." It was reported that Marvin Sr. emphasized that if any of his children ever tried to physically attack him, he would kill that child. Alberta was finally able to separate both father and son. While Alberta was calming his son down, in no time the father entered the bedroom again. He held a .38 Special Smith & Wesson gun in his hand, one that Marvin Jr. had given to him a few months back for protection. He didn't say a word and shot his son in the heart. Marvin lay helpless as his mother could only watch in despair as the father shot him again in his left shoulder. Gay's brother, Frankie, learned about the shots and his wife Irene called 911. Frankie mentioned his brother's final words in his book, "I got what I wanted. I couldn't do it myself, so I had him do it. It's good. I ran my race. There's no more left in me." Irene found the gun and passed it to the paramedics upon their arrival. 20 minutes had passed since the singer was shot. The medical staff rushed to the California hospital, but Gay was declared dead at 1 p.m., just one day before his 45th birthday. Marvin Sr. was arrested, and his trial began in Los Angeles County Jail with a bail of $100,000. His story clashed with his wife's. "I pulled the trigger. The first one did not seem to bother him. He put his hand up to his face like he had been hit with a BB. And then I fired again. I was heading back towards my room. I was going to go in there and lock the door. This time I heard him say, 'Oh,' and I saw him going down. I do not know that I did fire the gun. I was trying to keep him back off me. I want the world to know it wasn't presumptuous on my part." Marvin Sr. was held in front of Judge Gordon Ringer in 1984. The judge remarked, "This is one of the few cases in which a young one had been murdered, and it is very obvious. The investigation officers understand that the death of Marvin Gaye was provoked by himself, and it was all his fault." After his medical examination, Marvin SRS doctors found a small tumor in his pituitary gland, which would affect his hearings in the upcoming trial. His lawyers also stated that the tumor may be the reason why he killed his son. However, a psychiatrist testified that he was conscious and competent enough to stand trial. Marvin's autopsy showed the minute amount of drugs in his body, which he took days before his death. Images revealed the injuries from his final argument with his son, leading Judge Ringer to proceed with a plea bargain. Marvin Sr. was accused of involuntary manslaughter on September 20, 1984, which he did not contest. When the police asked him if he loved his son, he replied, "Let's say I didn't dislike him." Marvin Sr. was given a suspended sentence of 6 years, which was later reduced to 5 years of probation. The leniency was given because of his health status. According to his lawyer, the father murdered his son in self-defense. During the days around Gay's death, his father was heavy on alcohol. Undoubtedly, drinking affects the rational thinking of a person. It won't be wrong to say that Marvin SR's addiction to drinking led him to kill his son. Now, let's look at similar cases where a father kills his son. Stephen Bartow died as a teenager because his father treated him poorly too. According to reports, the culprit was psychotic and a drug abuser. In Gay's case, Marvin Sr. was a psychopath who mentally and physically tortured his children, eventually shooting his son to death. Marvin SR's father was also abusive and went through domestic violence while growing up. Perhaps childhood abuse leads to abusive parenting. Let us know what you think in the comments.